Close to Grey is one of the deepest and most emotionally intense songs in Project Sekai, not only because of its melancholic instrumentation and melody, but also due to the rawness of its lyrics. The song encapsulates Ina's inner conflict, a young artist struggling with self-perception, validation, and the pressure to be recognized in a world that seems indifferent to her efforts. To better understand the impact of this song, it is crucial to analyze Ina's relationship with 25G, Nightcord D, and her personal story. Since childhood, Ina has lived in the shadow of her father, a renowned artist who has never seen her as talented enough. This lack of recognition has led her into a constant struggle with herself, desperately seeking validation, while feeling trapped in a cycle of frustration and self-loathing. A cry of despair from the first verse, the song opens with a heartbreaking confession. I have no talent. That's why I cry here my whole life. From the very first verse, the song establishes Ina's feelings of inferiority and hopelessness. This line conveys a sense of stagnation and self-reproach, a recurring theme in her story. It is not just a momentary expression of sadness, but a declaration of a deep emotional state that has haunted her for years. The metaphor of life. As a forgotten object later, one of the song's most powerful metaphors appears. My life rolls along the roadside as the asphalt's temperature drops. Here, Ina's life is compared to a discarded object left on the side of the road, losing its warmth, symbolizing a lack of direction and the fading of her hopes. This imagery reinforces her feeling of being trapped in mediocrity and her fear of never standing out. Her art, her passion, seems to be becoming irrelevant as she sinks deeper into her own despair. The chorus and the repression of her emotion. Rainy, rainy, I only painted what I longed for, closed my heart and waited. In reality, I want to scream. Here, the rain acts as a symbol of Ina's constant sadness. Her art reflects her unfulfilled desires, what she wants to achieve, but she finds herself in a state of hopelessness, preferring to shut herself away rather than openly express her frustration. The phrase, "Hontou wa 𝙎𝙀𝙆𝙼𝙖 no yo," in reality, I want to scream, is a stifled plea, showing just how much she has repressed her emotions. Ina's emotional collapse. Take these feelings away and leave before they turn into a complete mess. At this moment, Ina is on the verge of emotional collapse. She pleads for someone to save her before her emotions completely consume her. This desperate cry reflects Ina's fear of being overwhelmed by her own despair. Her struggle is no longer just about her talent, but about her own identity and self-worth. Melodic analysis. The tension between melancholy and desperation. The instrumental composition of Close to Grey enhances Ina's feelings of sadness and hopelessness. The song begins with a soft, almost fragile instrumentation that mirrors her emotional state. However, as it progresses, the intensity rises, with strong percussion and distorted guitars symbolizing her growing frustration and anguish. One of the most interesting aspects of the melody is its use of contrast. While the verses maintain an introspective and restrained atmosphere, the chorus erupts with an explosion of sound, reflecting Ina's suppressed need to express herself. This dynamic shift reinforces the theme of internal struggle, where her desire to be heard clashes with the feeling of not being enough. Symbolism in the 3D MV and illustrations reign as a metaphor for persistent sadness. In the 3D MV, rain appears in multiple scenes, reflecting Ina's emotional state. It is not a violent storm, but a constant drizzle, symbolizing the silent and persistent sadness she lives with. The Narcissus Flowers. A cry for recognition. In the illustration where Ina lies on the ground surrounded by narcissus flowers, we find a direct reference to her struggle for validation. In the language of flowers, Narcissus can represent the desire for recognition and self-obsession. The event cover and its connection to the song. 𝙂𝙀 is in her studio, surrounded by canvases and brushes, with paint stains on her clothes, evidence of countless hours of effort. The walls around her are covered with unfinished works and discarded sketches, each reflecting her internal struggle. Although she has devoted all her time and passion to art, her melancholic expression reveals deep dissatisfaction. Her lost gaze and paint-stained hands convey the weight of her doubts, the fear of not being good enough, and the frustration of feeling trapped in her own self-imposed expectations. Parallels with other characters. 𝙂𝙀, Akito, and Minori. These characters share certain parallels with 𝙂𝙀 Shinonome, Minori, more jump. She represents unwavering resilience. Even though she has faced rejection many times, she continues forward without letting it affect her self-esteem. Akito, vivid bad squad. Unlike his sister, Akito uses competition to improve, whereas 𝙂𝙀 measures her worth through external validation. She lacks the confidence and resilience to endure rejection without feeling devastated. Conclusion. Close to Gray as a reflection of 𝙂𝙀's inner struggle. The song leaves us with a sense of despair, but also a small spark of resistance. Despite everything, 𝙂𝙀 keeps fighting, trying to find her place in the world. This duality is what makes Close to Gray one of the most impactful songs in Project Sekai, and one that best encapsulates the emotional complexity of its protagonist. Close to Gray is a song that reflects 𝙂𝙀's pain and inner struggle. But what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this analysis, subscribe for more videos like this.